Alright guys, it is that time again. We're going to be talking about the top 10 Pokemon card investments from 2022. That's right, we're going to take a review of the year, check out what cards are going to be good investments for you in the future, or what I believe will be good investments in the future. And of course, just kind of relax as we are coming into the end, moving into 2023. I hope everybody has some good plans for the New Year's. Hopefully you guys are spending some time with some family and friends over these holidays. It's a great opportunity to get caught up on things from the last year and review things that are moving forward. So once again, we're going to go ahead and check out the top 10 Pokemon cards and card investments from 2022. Alright guys, now we're going to sit down and talk about the top 10 Pokemon cards of 2022. Now, the biggest thing I'm going to say right now is a disclosure. This is not a buy it now guide. I'm not saying to purchase these right here, right now. I'm saying that these will be good investments in the future. The buying point of these cards will be up to you. It will depend on the market. It will depend on the opportunities that present themselves as we move forward in the Pokemon TCG, or possibly have already maybe missed some buying opportunities and you may be buying them now at current secondary market prices, and that's okay. There will still be good investments in the future. So I'm going to break this down into a top 10, and we're going to start it out right away with number 10. Alright, number 10, I picked the Origin Form Dialga alternate art from Astral Radiance. That's right, I do like the Diamond and Pearl comeback with, of course, the Gods of Pokemon, Dialga being one of them, and this alternate art is a really cool contrast card. It looks really nice, not necessarily presented as most of the alternate art cards have been doing. And once again, I do believe this card has some really good opportunities in the Diamond and Pearl fan base as those people become of age. I mean, right now they are still in that mid 20 to upper 20 range. They are not quite into their 30s where they're starting to get that expendable money and things. So there is an opportunity that with Pokemon jumping the gun a little bit on bringing back those Diamond and Pearl cards and those Diamond and Pearl characters, that we could get ahead of those era people and definitely have some opportunities to grab. Now, I'm not going to say there was a lot of people in Diamond and Pearl. It was probably one of the slower times of the Pokemon hobby. For at least that's when I was leaving. It was getting a little bit slower because all of the OGs were leaving. The newer people and some of the remnants were staying. But overall, it was a little slower time. But I do believe these cards will get some value. They will get some intrinsic value for people that collect and are starting to build their own little niches as they move forward in the Pokemon TCG. So you're going to see a lot of these God forms here, especially right at the beginning of this list. Moving on to number 9. Number 9, I picked the Origin Form Palkia alternate art. Once again, another alternate art for the God form Pokemon. These cards are very nice. They're going to look good in a display, especially if you're looking at creating a collection around these particular cards. You're going to want these. And most of these cards, I will say, will be have a great advantage if you can get them in a PSA 10 and 9, somewhere in that upper range. I think you'll have a really good selling point on these cards. So when you're purchasing these ones, definitely do your due diligence. These cards will definitely do fantastic in a slab where someone's creating a collection or a display based on those type of Pokemon. So once again, this Origin Form Palkia, really cool abstract art to this one, a really cool dynamic to this card. I do really enjoy this card. I think that it looks really good and it was really presented. That's why I put it above the Dialga card, is just because I think the artwork on this was just a little bit better of a touch, and it does look really good at the end of the day, really showing Palkia's abilities when it comes down to the Pokemon TCG. Moving on to number 8. Number 8, I have the Origin Form Arceus alternate art from Brilliant Stars. Once again, this Arceus card has got a dual advantage. Number 1, it was a very playable card, so players that use this deck are going to probably be looking for this card in the future for remembrance of that card and the way that it performed. But you're also dealing with the collectors from Diamond and Pearl moving into the hobby again as they get more expendable money, creating things from their childhood and memories from that Diamond and Pearl era. They will be looking for this Arceus card. Once again, this Arceus card is a beautiful rendition of this artwork. It's a really nice alternate art card. It's a beautiful layout with the god of Pokemon himself floating over the landscape. Definitely a nice touch to any kind of the Diamond and Pearl God of Pokemon collections that are out there or will be created in the future. So once again, 5-10 years down the road, I think this card has a very good opportunity to have a good standing, a good gain, and the opportunities will be there that people will want to purchase these Pokemon in order to complete those collections of alternate arts at the end of the day. Moving on to number 7. Number 7, I'm going to slip in here with the Mewtwo Rainbow Rare. I know people are going to wonder why I didn't go with the alternate art, but this comes from Pokemon Go. That alternate art to me is just flat for a Mewtwo. I do like the alternate art. I do like that they finally gave Mewtwo some love in the Sword and Shield era. I feel that there was some really big missed opportunities, and that alternate card is an absolute showing of missed opportunities. I think they could have really done a better rendition for an alternate art card. It's just kind of blah. But the Rainbow Rare card, in my opinion, is a really nice standout. Very nice looking card, a very nice Rainbow Rare. It's one of the few that made it on this list, but I do think that this Rainbow Rare has an opportunity to potentially do better than the alternate art overall for Mewtwo fans. Just because, personally, me being a Mewtwo fan, I think that this one is done better. It stands out better, it's flashier, it's more Mewtwo-ish, it's more of a better look with the enlarged size of Mewtwo on the actual artwork itself. And it's not as blah with all the buildings and in the daylight and floating and all the other things they did with Mewtwo. I think they could have really done a lot better job on that alternate art. So once again, I think that this Rainbow Rare alternate art, or Rainbow Rare Mewtwo, will be a fantastic addition to anybody's investment collection. Also, the pricing is fairly good on it right now. And if you do want to grab some alternate arts and put it in the same spot or this area, definitely not a bad opportunity. I think it will do well. I just don't think it's going to do as well as a Rainbow Rare long term when it comes down to this Mewtwo card. Moving on to number 6. Number 6, I put in the Machamp alternate art. Once again, I'm going to throw in the Machamp from Astral Radiance. Once again, I like this card. I think it was really well done. I liked this card when I saw it beforehand. I didn't think Machamp would hold a big following just because it's not a huge fan favorite Pokemon, but it does still carry fan favorites. It's all the way back from WotC. It's one of the original Pokemon and of course the Pokemon TCG all the way from base set. And overall, it is a very nice artwork for Machamp. The way that they put him into, like you see in the anime, actually working, being involved in the workings of the Pokemon world, and that's a cool rendition where they actually show him using his strength for the good of the anime world, not just his attack abilities that we see in cards. So it was a really good rendition of Machamp, giving him life, giving him a feeling that this is what you would see walking down the streets of one of the areas inside of Pokemon or one of the towns, Pallet Town, going through Lavender Town or any of these where Machamp may be working or helping the community move things and get things done as a workhorse for that community. So moving on to number 5. Number 5, I'm going to slip in the Brilliant Stars Charizard Rainbow Rare. That's right. Even though it isn't performing as well as its alternate art brother, I think that this card still has a good opportunity to move forward. It's a very nice artwork. It's a really standoutish card here in 2022. It's not as good, in my opinion, as some of the V Maxis cards that came out, but this V Star is definitely a great card in 2022. I think that this card will do well. Overall, any Charizards in the futuristic realm will do fairly well. I think it's a good artwork. I think it's a strong contender for some good things. I think if you get this graded in a PSA or some kind of grading company, either CGC, AGS, whatever you want to use, or Beckett, definitely some great opportunities to get some value out of that in the future with the graded card market being what it is, with the growth that we're seeing inside of it. Once again, it's a Rainbow Rare. It stands out. It's very nice. It's flashy. It looks good. And that's why I have this one at my number 5. Moving on to number 4. Number 4, I pulled up the Aerodactyl alternate art from Lost Origins. Once again, I do really like this artwork. I think it's a fantastic card, a rendition of Aerodactyl flying over the skies. Definitely a OG Pokemon coming back all the way from Fossil, and definitely a good standout for some of the people that remember playing the game where you had to choose between the Ammonite or the Aerodactyl when it came down to your Fossil search. So once again, it's just kind of one of them flashback Pokemon. It looks great. They did a very nice alternate art in this. They give it that more realistic feel again. I love the alternate arts that have a realistic feel to them, but I think this one out of all of them will do really well moving forward into the future. I think that there's a great opportunity with Aerodactyl fans, Fossil fans, OG WotC fans, that this one will do really well and have really good opportunities moving forward into Pokemon TCG. Once again, another sound performer. That and the pull rate seems to be hit or miss. Some people get it really quickly. Then you got someone like PokeRev that takes, well, I found out it was almost 3,000 packs in order to pull this, not 5,000 like I said in the last video. But hey, it's still a lot of packs. At the end of the day, that you have to pull that many particular packs in order to get one card is a ridiculous number. But now I've talked to people who have gotten in 100 packs. So it just depends on where you get it. Of course, luck plays a big part into when you pull the good cards. So once again, great opportunity though with that Aerodactyl, with that memory of Pokerev, just pulling packs, trying to get it. And I definitely think that overall this has got enough fan favorite behind it to really drive it and give it a great opportunity in the future, moving 5-10 years down the road. Moving on to number 3. Number 3, I'm going to sneak in the Giratina V alternate art once again from Lost Origins. I think this card is fantastic, guys. I love the artwork. The more you look at it, the more you seem to see. There's a lot of things going on in this artwork in a really small package, and it makes it look really nice. Once again, going with that Gods of Pokemon theme coming up with Giratina moving in, definitely going to have a great opportunity to add that to their collection. They're going to need all 4 of those cards in order to complete the alternate art set. And this one, out of all of them, I think is probably the best artwork of them. And they did a really good job at presenting this card out there as an alternate art. Once again, Diamond and Pearl fans, as they move up and as they age, they're going to be looking at opportunities such as this one to purchase. Getting this card graded, having this thing in a raw, in a really good condition, are going to be great opportunities futuristically to gain some of that income or value on these products moving into the future. Moving on to number 2. Number 2, I put in the Lugia V alternate art from Silver Tempest. Once again, I think that this is a fantastic artwork. I love this artwork. Maybe it's just me being a Gen 2. That's why I put it above Giratina. I think that this is a fantastic card for Lugia. The overall look, the menacing size of Lugia flying over the kid with the boat, it just looks fantastic. They did a great job. Once again, another one of these artworks where the artist went above and beyond what you would expect on this card, and the alternate art is a standout beautiful card. So once again, when you look at it, people from, of course, Gen 2 and the OG fans all the way back in WotC, this is a card that they're going to want to have for their collection. I was lucky enough to pull one of them very early in Silver Tempest, but it's definitely one of those cards that I wouldn't mind buying several of, finding some really good ones, getting them graded, having them for display myself, and also having them available for people that may want to purchase them in the future. I think that there'll be a lot of people looking for this, and this is one of the reasons I think Silver Tempest has an opportunity to do rather well as a booster box set or as a set in general. I don't think that it has a lot going for it when it comes down to a lot of the other areas. I mean, it does have a nice trainer gallery too, which is a bonus, but this is really the one big alternate art inside of that set that I think is going to draw a lot of Gen 2 individuals, a lot of WotC fans, a lot of those original Pokemon people back into this to try and get this particular alternate art for their collection. So overall, that's why I put the Lugia V alternate art from Silver Tempest ahead of the Giratina V alternate art. It was a tough one for me, but that's my reasoning, is just because I'm a Gen 2 fan. I'm an OG. I love the old Lugia alternate art. I love Lugia. I love Charizards. I love all the original Pokemon, and that's why it's slightly pushed it ahead for me. One of those ones you may shift it back and forth between the two of them at the end of the day. Moving on to number 1. All right, guys, here we are at the end of the list, and I'm sure there's no surprise for what is going to fall into this positioning in 2022. If you haven't seen it on the list yet, you know it's coming. The Charizard V alternate art from Brilliant Stars. Of course, that is going to be the number 1 dog of this whole list in 2022. Overall, I think this Charizard is going to rocket in the future. I think it's a little bit slow right now just because there is so much alternate art overload that these things are being missed. But as always, Charizard fans are Charizard fans, and they will always be Charizard fans. They will buy Charizards no matter the cost, no matter how many there are of them. They will sell, and we see it time and time again when it comes down to Charizards. That's why I believe that this Charizard alternate art is a good buy. I think that if you can get a few of these, yes, it's a little bit pricey. It's been holding at $180 for 6 months. I mean, it hasn't really moved up or down. But overall, I think that there's a good value inside of this. Gives you opportunities to play, gives you opportunities to get some graded cards. Maybe try for that Beckett Black Label. Maybe try for those Beckett 10s. Go for some CGC. Spread it around maybe a little bit on the grading if you're going to go and put some money into one of these cards. I definitely think the Charizard alternate art from 2022 is definitely going to be your best Pokemon investment at the end of the day when it comes down to the cards in this year of Sword and Shield. Once again, we're leaving Sword and Shield. Next year might be a little bit flat. We may see some opportunities from these Sword and Shield sets coming forward, because we don't know what's going to be inside of a base set when it comes down to Scarlet and Violet. We may see fantastic things in a base set, which would be very unusual when it comes down to Pokemon TCG. I'm thinking that we'll be seeing a little flatter set, especially the first 1 or 2 sets of the expansion, and the base set typically are a little bit flat. They're just trying to get mechanics for gameplay are the #1 priority on a base set and the first expansion, and after that we start to see things kind of ramp up for what they put into it, whether it's alternate arts, whether it's Radiant cards, and those kind of things all seem to show up after the first few sets, and definitely drive the set forward or the era forward. But Sword and Shield may have an opportunity for some of these cards to do well as we move into that Scarlet and Violet set. So once again, hopefully this is a good list. Hopefully you enjoyed this list. Hopefully this helps you out in maybe some directions that you're looking at going when you're purchasing these products and purchasing these cards, trying to make decisions on which ones you think will be better. Overall, I think that this is pretty well set for what would be good. I mean, you could move some of these around. You might bring in that Mewtwo alternate art. I personally like the Rainbow Rare better. You could definitely move in those Palkia, Dialga, and Arceus forward. But I think overall, these are going to be your top 10 contenders coming out of 2022, moving forward 10, 15, 20 years in the future. These are going to be your guys that you're going to be wanting to look at. So once again, hopefully this helps you out. If it did, as always, and you've made it this far in the video, hit that subscribe, hit that notify, and as always, hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated to move us right along. And if you do like this kind of content, of course, I'm going to put the top 10 that was put up on Wednesday for you guys to review for products if you have not seen that. Otherwise, I will put another piece of content right here. Other than that, we will see you next time here on Northwoods TCG, and Happy New Year's.